Why did he leave at the exact moment you were finally ready to love him? Sit with that. Do not rush past it into an explanation, because you have already tried explanations and none of them let you sleep. The timing is what haunts you, not the leaving, the timing. You were ready. That is the cruel detail. After all the guarding, all the years of holding a piece of yourself back because someone before him had taught you to, you had finally put your hands down. You had decided. You could see a life. You were not asking him to be perfect anymore, only to stay. And somewhere in the middle of that softening, he was already gone. So the question underneath the question is the one you have not said out loud. Was it the readiness that scared him away? Did opening your hands cause this? Stay in that for a moment, instead of running from it, because until it is answered properly, it will keep running the way you love. You have gone back over it. You have found the week you think it turned. You have replayed a conversation you now believe was the wrong one. Maybe you were too available. Maybe you should have kept some distance a little longer, stayed a little harder to reach, been slightly less. Every one of those thoughts trains you toward the same conclusion, and the conclusion is a lie that has ruined a great many good women. The lie says that love is a game of leverage, and you lost the moment you stopped playing. Here is the first layer lifting. He did not leave because you became ready. He left because your readiness required something of him. While you were guarded, nothing was being asked of him. He could have your company without your future. He could have your attention without your questions. Your walls, the ones you hated, were doing him a service, and he may never have known it consciously. The day you took them down, the arrangement changed. Suddenly there was a woman in front of him who was actually available, actually present, actually offering a life. And that is a far heavier thing to hold than a woman who is half withheld. Some men are drawn to a door that is closing. It is exciting to them. What they do not want is the room behind it. Read that again slowly, because it turns your whole story around. His leaving was not triggered by your worth arriving. It was triggered by his own capacity being measured for the first time. And a man does not usually announce that he has come up short. He calls it timing. He calls it a season. He says something has changed in him lately. He gives you a soft reason so that he does not have to say the accurate one. The next layer. You did not lose a future. You found out that the future you were building had only one builder in it. Everything you were preparing to give him was real. The patience, the loyalty, the ordinary faithfulness of showing up for someone for decades. All of it exists. All of it is still in your hands. Right now. Tonight. It did not leave with him. He simply turned out not to be the address it was going to. There is grief in that, and the grief is legitimate. Do not let anyone rush you through it or tell you it was a blessing before you have been allowed to call it a loss. It was a loss. Something died that you had already started living in. And there is a particular kind of grief here that nobody has a name for, so it goes untended. You are not only mourning a man, you are mourning a house you had already decorated in your head. How the holidays were going to work, your mother meeting him properly. A child's face you had half assembled out of his features and your own. None of that ever existed anywhere except inside you, which means no one else can see it, which means nobody arrives to help you bury it. You have been holding a funeral alone, for a life that was never technically alive. But be careful what you conclude from it. Grief tells the truth about pain and lies about the future. It will tell you that this was your window. That readiness like that comes once. That you spent your best years learning how to open, and now there is no one left to open for. None of that is knowledge. That is exhaustion wearing the voice of wisdom. Notice when that voice is loudest. Never in the middle of a working afternoon. It comes at night, when you are tired and there is nothing standing between you and your own thoughts. The facts of your life do not change between 2 in the afternoon and 2 in the morning. Only your strength does. Whatever grief concludes about your entire future after midnight is not insight, it is fatigue. And fatigue should not be permitted to make decisions about the next 10 years of your life. There was a young man who was taken away from everything at 17. Joseph was his father's favorite, and he had dreams, and his brothers hated him for both. They threw him in a pit. They sold him to traders heading for Egypt. He went from a favored son to a piece of property in a single afternoon, and every good thing he had been prepared for was suddenly behind him. Then it happened again. He worked his way into trust in Potiphar's house and was accused of something he did not do, and he went to prison for it. He interpreted a dream for a man who promised to remember him, and that man forgot him for 2 full years. 2 years is a short phrase to read and a very long thing to live. That is 700 mornings of waking in the same place, knowing that the one man who could have spoken your name to the king walked out into the sunlight and let it fall out of his head. Nothing in that stretch looked like preparation. It looked like a man going to waste in a cell for something he did not do. And if anyone had told him then that he was being positioned for something, he would have had every right to laugh at them. Take the whole shape of that in. It was not one loss. It was loss layered on loss, each one arriving right after he had rebuilt. Years later, he stood in front of the brothers who had started all of it, and by then he had power enough to end them. And what he said instead was that they had meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. He did not say the evil was not evil. He named it plainly. He simply had lived long enough by then to see that there had been another hand in the story the whole time, working underneath the wreckage, arranging something none of them could see from inside the pit. Nobody explained anything to Joseph in year 1. Not in the pit, not in the cell. He got no note telling him where this was going. Every part of that season felt like waste while he was in it. And it was not waste, and he could not have known that yet. You are in a year 1. That is why nothing is making sense. There is something else in his story worth holding. Joseph did not survive by becoming hard. When he finally saw his brothers, he wept so loudly that the Egyptians outside heard him. He came through all of it with his heart still working. That is the part to want, not the throne. The fact that he could still cry in front of the people who broke him and still choose to feed them. So here is what to do with the readiness you are carrying. Do not put it away. That is the instinct, and it is the one thing that will cost you the next 10 years. The temptation is to decide that being open was the mistake, and to go back to being a woman who is admired and never quite reached. You can live that way. Many do. It is safer, and it is smaller, and it slowly turns into a loneliness you cannot explain to anyone, because from the outside, your life looks fine. Your openness was not the error, your aim was. And notice that aim is the one part of this that actually belongs to you. You cannot make a man ready. You cannot love someone into a capacity he does not have, and you have already tried. And the trying is a good deal of why you are this tired. What you can do is get better at seeing who is in front of you, earlier, before the years go in. That is not a small consolation prize. That is the difference between one hard season and a decade of them. An aim is a thing that improves. Every honest thing you learned in that relationship is now something you can recognize in half the time. You will notice sooner when a man enjoys your company but avoids your questions. You will feel it earlier when someone wants access without commitment. That is not cynicism. That is a woman who has been through something and kept her eyes. You are a daughter of the king, and daughters of that house are not evaluated by whether a man could handle them. Your father does not measure you by who stayed. He knows exactly what you offered, and he watched you offer it, and none of it fell to the ground unnoticed. So take the question you came in with and turn it over. It was never why he left when you were finally ready. It is what you were being made ready for. If a man who could not stay was never the point of the preparation. Name the one line from tonight that found you. Down in the comments. Someone reading after you will need to see it in a stranger's words before she can believe it in her own.